Over the 5 years producer Doug Stanley has spent at sea, over 60 men have died. Covering another tragic loss never gets easy.
It's one of the difficult things we do in our job here. We're telling the tale, the truth of what happens out here. And sometimes the truth isn't a pretty story.
Through a lifetime of adventures and decades of work in television production, I have traveled the world extensively. Over time, I became known for my Edge of the Earth productions, most notably as a founding and long-term producer of Discovery Channel's Deadliest Catch.
Producer Doug Stanley, the veteran cameraman, braved the world's most hazardous workspace.
I'm Doug Stanley, and this is Wilder Yet. My guest today is Jonathan Hillstrand, a star of Deadliest Catch and the captain of the Time Bandit.
If I hear it, then I'll do it. But if he doesn't say no, I'm not going to do it because I didn't hear it.
Jonathan, it's great to have you, man. I don't think I've seen you for a dozen years or something.
It's been a crazy long time. It seems like yesterday, though, you know, you're hanging out together on the boat.
That's right. Do you remember when I first met you? You were on the dock in St. Paul.
Oh, no way.
And you guys, you and Andy were on, and I was on, I think, the Maverick next to you guys. And everybody was out beating ice on boats, but I ended up coming in to you guys, and you had been working with trying to put a camera on the bottom.
That was Andy, and you convinced him to join the show.
And I just remember you guys were kind of innovators trying to accomplish that when I first met you, you know? I don't know if you're still as crazy as you were when I was around you, but I was thinking, like, how many stories could I talk about with Jonathan? Oh my God.
Yeah.
When I was on the Time Bandit with you, I think I did like 2 or 3 turns. I did one with you, one with Andy, and then I also did that one where we did the submarine expedition.
That's right.
One of the things that I remember is I was with you. We were filming the departure scenes with the helicopter, and the helicopter came somehow. We got hit with this wind blast during that. Remember that? What happened?
Yeah, and yeah, it's crazy how close they fly to us, and, you know, and they're coming in at about 100, I think, at you.
We got hit by this blast of wind, and it felt like the helicopter crashed into the Time Bandit. And I remember you like panicking and running out the back door, you know?
Yeah, that happens too. One time me and Andy went through the eye of a 952 millibar low, and it was flat calm in the center. And we were spooling like 120 on our starboard side, and we had the trash can under the windows, you know, the side windows would leak, and so we were filling a trash can up about every 40 minutes and dumping out the back door, and then all of a sudden it got flat calm, and from 120 to nothing, and Andy goes, "I'm gonna take a shower," because he goes, "I must outrun the storm," and then he jumps in the shower, and I swear 12 minutes later it blew 120 from the other side, because we went through the eye, you know, right through the eye of the storm. It was blowing, it's doing like this in the center. And the center is completely flat calm, and it was moving like 15 knots. So we're not fast enough, but you could stay right in the center of that storm if you wanted to, if you had a fast enough boat. But anyway, he didn't get to take a shower. It was violent.
Push the subscribe button. The time I spent on your guys' vessel was really some of the very best times I ever had at Deadliest Catch. You know, there's just camaraderie with you guys, and the first time I actually went to sea with you, we did a number of things. One of the things we did is we played the flower prank. Remember that? How incredibly epic that was?
Yeah, it's like a chainsaw. You tie flour bags on the guy's crab line, and then it's like comes up through the block. Poof, 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 poof. It's epic. You know how that all started, right? Back in the day, way back, 20 years earlier, what guys would steal pull other guys' gear, so they would shit and piss in a 5-gallon bucket till it's full, and tie it on their, you know, about 20 feet down on their buoy line. And when another guy come to steal their pot or pull their pot, that poop and stuff would just go boom and just shower the whole deck. That's how that. So we just changed it up to flour, you know, and then we added like 15 of them. But that was so fun, yeah. And You know what I remember most is most guys could ladder come up our mast. We had like a 25-foot mast, and this guy throws a line over and climbs the mountain, climbs up. You remember that, doing that? And
Oh
you
yeah.
fell down with them. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember, getting all over that boat trying to get the next top level shot, but climbing up your mast and being up there in the top of the Time Bandit, you get a whole different feel, that cowboy feel. And that was also the trip, what did we call it? The horseshoe. You laid all the gear in, just like crossed your fingers. And I just remember the celebrations for when the crab came up for that, because it was a full Hail Mary,
It was, every pot was just chuckered, and it was way up shallow. Like crab usually are never there, but they weren't out deep, so we're going, where the hell are they? And so we Hail Maried, and that was a hell of a season. Like you said, it was just crazy. And what people don't see is how many blank pots you pull, and when you pull that one good one, woo!
Woo, yeah. The crab dance began at that time. That was when it all started happening. There was also an event that we did pre-season where we flew you and Andy and Phil and everybody up on this mountaintop. And then we were filming you on the mountaintop. And I've got the photo from this day of all of the captains of that time of Bering Sea, all with your pants down around your ankles, BAing me while I'm flying straight at you, and you're on top of this snow mountain, man.
It's a lot colder up there than it is, how tall is that mountain?
Probably 4,000 or something, huh?
Yeah, 3,800 or something. But you can tell it's a lot colder. The sea level's a lot warmer than that damn mountain was.
That's right, man. Another thing I remember on the Time Bandit was I had this near-death experience that I didn't share with you. I remember walking back in the wheelhouse, and I was just so solemn because I had almost died. I had gone off the back of the Time Bandit, and I needed to get this shot of when you push the throttle forward. I wanted to get the shot of like the energy of the water coming out the back over the Time Bandit painted on the stern. And I couldn't. Well, I tried that later, but what I tried to do is I went over the rail on the back of the boat, like, a cameraman idiot, and I'm holding on to the top rail. I'm over the rail, holding on with my elbow with the cameras, but it was icy, and my feet slid out from underneath me, and the only reason I didn't go overboard is because my arm jammed up in the pipes and the ice, and I threw the camera onto the deck there, and I got a hold, and I pulled myself back over. And all as I could do for about 5 minutes is just stare to, off the stern and go, there I would be out there in the inky blackness, and nobody would know.
And we wouldn't have known, and then that's why you got the ladder. Then he probably told me I'm going back there, because if we don't know you're back there, and I mean, that boat disappears so quick. When we do a man overboard, I've done that before, where I jump in a survival suit in the bay, just right outside the harbor, flat calm, and you jump over the side, and that boat is gone so quick. That big boat disappears quick on you. That is scary, my friend. I did not know that happened. I'm so glad that we didn't lose you. That would have been terrible, 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 tragic.
It would have been, and we wouldn't be talking right now, that's for sure. But I remember that season, Andy had brought a handheld camera, and he was trying to learn to shoot and stuff like that. And then after you guys dropped me off and you offloaded at least most of the crab, I'm just kidding, that you guys were headed back to Homer, and you were riding alongside. What was the boat you were riding alongside that?
And that's what we call a camera cold, because he was videotaping, and his hands got too cold, and he came in. He quit filming. He would have caught the whole thing when the kid fell over, but he came in, and so we call it cameraman cold, because it's so cold out, you can tell everyone how cold it is. If your fingers aren't moving and your hands aren't moving, it's way colder. You freeze. And so he came in, the door shut, and I go, where'd the guy go? And all of a sudden you hear over the radio, man overboard from the Trailblazer. So, and then by the time we looked over, the kid was 300-400 feet behind the boat. And then Andy started filming again, of course, got the whole thing. It was one of the most memorable, or one of the top 10 reality moments of all time at the time, of reality TV. It was pretty good. I think you guys left the camera for him. You guys left it for him or Discovery.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah, we did. And kind of I had some success doing that. On the first year that I was on the Maverick, with Pork Chop there, and I had learned that the Cornelia Marie was their sister vessel, and this was before the Cornelia Marie was on the show, right? And so I brought a camera over and I gave it to Jake, who at that time was like 18, right? And I gave him the camera and I told him, anything cool happens, because I knew they would be around the Maverick. I wanted external shots of the Maverick. But that was when the Big Valley went down. And so I was on the Maverick. We were 8 nautical miles when the Pon came in. Pork Chop turned the Maverick towards the Big Valley site, and the Cornelia Marie came in from a slightly different direction, and we ended up in the grid trying to search out, and try and find Gary and the crew there. And I had this experience where we were searching for just a little blinking light on the survival suit. And so we turned off all the lights on the boat so we could see out, and we were standing on the bow, and Zach McFarlane was with me, and we were looking out into this inky blackness. And I just remember this feeling like madness exists out there. Like if you were alone in the ocean, even in a survival suit, that madness would take you, because there was just no reference. It was just incredible. And of course, when we got there, we found, or the helicopter had missed the life raft. There was that one survivor, Chance Seal, and they came in and scooped up Chance Seal right in front of me. And that was actually the second time I saw such a disaster. The first time was when Terry Rosenthal went overboard on the Shaman, and I was on the Sea Star with Larry Hendricks, and we were filming, and right there when it happened. So, it kind of seemed like disaster was following me around. The next time was the Ocean Challenger, but when I got on your boat, it was smooth sailing, except for a couple of bottles of Jack Daniels.
Yeah, we got a lot of angels flying behind that boat. That's all I know. My mom prays for us, and I know that helps. So it's good to have that. Yeah, when we're done with the trip, sometimes we'll draw cards, and someone has to drive for 8 hours, and we let everyone have a drink. But and then we just drink 1/5. We throw the bottle over. We put a note in it that says, "Please send more." But I wonder where those bottles end up. Please send more. Someone gets going to get that on the shore somewhere. But that was back in the day. How many years ago was that? It was like,
well, gosh, I did the first 7 years of Deadliest Catch, which I thought was an incredibly long period of time, and now season 20. My brother Todd is still out there. Can you believe my brother is still on the boats 20 years later?
Wow, he's tougher than I am. I'm still out there too. We just filmed with them, so again, but once you think, there's nothing else I could give them, and there's nothing new you're going to see, and it'll prove you wrong every time. It's crazy what happens out there, my friend. It's still crazy. And some of the Big Valley, that Cash kid, he got Gary and another guy into the raft, and then he tied the painter line onto the Big Valley, and then a boat sank and it took him down, and he's got to live with that. I mean, and those guys were 100 feet above the boat when it sank, and died. Right, they're still hanging there. Sooner or later, that's going to bust loose, and they're going to pop to the surface, and someone's going to find them. But how terrible was that? And then the other life raft pops up, and he gets in it. But he's trying to save him. He didn't know any better. But I was watching the thing, and I watched him with the interview, and it was made me just sad. It was so tragic. We lost all those guys, you know. They used to happen almost every year back then. And now, now that it's rationalized, there's only this year there was only 27 boats, down to 27 of us. You know that?
That's incredible. I think there were 400 when I started.
Yeah, was anything that floated was out there. I mean, seriously, it's crazy.
We came to town with 7 people that first year, and I stayed in a room there above the sports bar. And I remember like the first night, I'd been to the bar and I, ended up in my room, and Larry Hendricks was supposed to be coming back to town to get me, right? So I knew I was going to be in, quote unquote, the smallest boat on the fleet.
That's a scary little boat, but it was a good seaworthy little boat. I think that was a Jensen.
They called in when they were coming to Dutch. They crossed Adigan Pass, and I'm sorry, not Adigan, Akutan, from Akutan, and they had the lazarette full of water, and they called in a mayday. So the ship that was coming to get me, my first trip for Deadliest Catch, was already calling in maydays before they even got to me. And then they fixed the boat. They got it into town. They fixed the boat, and then I went out. But the things that I've seen out there clearly are no comparison to what you've seen. But I think about like some of the ways I've seen the ocean boil, like when it gets really close to freezing, and there's energy coming out of the ocean, and that fog is everywhere, and it's like greasy fog.
Yeah, people don't understand it. It's ice fog. You'll if you see it, you'll know exactly. You'll call it that's ice fog. You don't even know the name of it. You'll call it. It's just evil. It's so cold. It's minus 50.
I remember that on your boat, when I'm standing beside you, being a camera operator in a wheelhouse with the captains is really hard to do. I mean, because I've always thought if we put like a red marker on one and watched what happens to the wheelhouse, where you're swinging, and every once in a while I remember you pulling the window down next to you and, hucking some cookies out the window. But I remember one time I got thrown across your wheelhouse, and like hitting the back of my leg was that short wall that's above the stairwell. And I remember like I was almost completely airborne, falling down the stairs, and it was just so close. It was only the roll of the boat that saved me,
You could die falling down them stairs. I'll tell you what. It's not and those every step's got that metal on it and on the corners. It's just evil. I fell down the stairs twice when I was at the top, and I just missed with my heel, and you go all the way down. It hurts. I don't care how old they are, but anyway, you're lucky. You could die from in the wheelhouse. I hate to say that. You could take it away, to kill you.
So anyway, Jonathan, I just want to say, to me, you're a hero. I really enjoyed my time with you and with your brother, but really especially you. And I look forward to spending some more time with you soon, and hopefully we'll ride motorcycles together. But thanks for coming today and being on the show.
Yeah, that'd be great. And I miss you, buddy. And it's great talking to you. And thanks for calling me. And,
all right.
We're out.
All right. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Push the subscribe button.